In this lesson, we will be discussing about finding area of the room in Java. So, the formula for area is equal to length multiplied by width. Let's code. So basically here we will create two classes. One is class main. So we're just going to give it a name, which is going to be class area. Okay. And another class, which is going to be class main. So this is interesting, since there is a split we have to understand. So this is another part: public static void main string arguments. Okay, this is one part of the same story, and the other part is this. So this is a class main, if you can see, class main, and we are going to create this interesting layout, and we have another closed brackets. Okay, all right. So now what we are going to do is that we will check everything is aligned or not, which is very much aligned. Okay. All right. Okay. So here is the place where we're going to create three integers. Okay. Since we know the area is nothing but length into width, right? So just going to write it. Area is equal to length into width. Okay. So with that being said, we're going to create three integers. Integer x, we'll make it equal to 0. Integer y, 0, and z equals 0. Okay. Now, within the same class area, what we're going to do is we are basically going to create two functions. So one function will be named as void getData, and the other function will be named as void area. Okay, and we will see how this basically works. So one void function and the other just a normal function, or maybe we're just going to use void. We'll see how that works. Okay, so void getData. Okay, and in this we are actually gonna, since it's a getData function, which means that the values are going to get received in here, we have integer x, integer y. Okay, remember, you don't put semicolon in here, because if you do put semicolon, you will have an error, which you do not need. You need to avoid errors, right? So it's a comma, and in here we're going to make sure what the value for x is. So we're just going to go ahead and type x is equal to y is equal to. But you see there's a problem in here. You cannot get data, because now that you are giving values to x and y, this has to be a different name. So we'll just keep length into width. Okay, L into W. Alright, whereas in here we're just going to create area, an object name, a is equal to new area. Okay, semicolon, and this is the place where we are going to give value. So a dot get data, and we are going to give 10 simple values, very simple values, 10, 20, and then that's it. Okay, so we have basically structured our coding. So what is basically happening is that, if you can see, this is the main function, this is the main class, right? So this value 10, the compiler knows that this getData is nothing but the function from this getData. So what happens then is that this value 10 is received to integer L, and this value 20 is received in integer W, right? So what happens then? What happens then is that we store it into the variables that we have just created, x and y. Okay, so x will be equal to length, right? X will be length, and W width will be y, or y will be width. It doesn't make any difference though, but you get the idea, just to make sure that you understand how that works. So x equal to L, okay, and W equals Y, or Y equals W. Let's just say Y equals W, that's better. Okay, now what happens is that we're going to set up some print statements in here, some display statements, you could say system.out.print, and here we're going to write area of room. Okay, another print statement, which is going to be area or width. For value, I don't know how to say that, but let's just go for width. Let's just go for length actually, because that's first, right? And then we're going to give the value for length, which is going to be x. Don't write L. Don't write L, write x, because we have put the value from this length, to x, which means that x is nothing but 10 and W is nothing but 20, right? But just for the compiler to understand, we're just going to write it the way it is. Alright, so what's next? We're just going to put semicolon and end it. Here we're going to write system dot out dot print. We could actually put semicolon, that would be interesting though, you know. Anyways, which will be Y and semicolon. Now that's done, we are going to create another function. So remember, that's the braces open for the function that we created, and this is the braces closed for the function we've just completed. Okay, so we're going to create another function, which is going to be integer area, normal function, and here is the place where we are going to calculate. So z equals x into y, and return the value for z. Okay, so what is happening here is that 10 into 20, x into y, is equal to z. Okay, so the value for z is nothing but just 200. It's as simple as that. Okay, z is 200. So what's happening is, since z is 200, the value of return, what return means is that z equals x into y, which means z is 200. Now when we write return z, it means that the value of z is getting returned to this function, which means that now the area is having the value of z, which means area is 200, if that makes sense in any way. But how do we, you know, make this function in our main class, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to write an integer. So we're going to create an integer, a very normal integer, and we're going to associate it with a dot area, okay, semicolon. So what we're basically doing in here is that, let me just give some space, is that we are getting to this place called as area using the object in the main function, in the main class. And what we're doing is we're giving this z value, which is 200, to integer m, since we're creating a local variable m. And what we will do in the next is that we will print this value using a print statement m. Okay, so we're trying to print m in here. So let's just write something. The area is, okay, and this will be something like m. Okay, okay, here's a mistake. Don't ever put semicolon, don't ever put full stops. It's just commas. Okay, just commas, normal commas. Okay, alright, looks cool, but in case if we do have any errors, we'll try to fix it. Alright, let's see what we've got. Okay, we've gotten an error which says could not find or load main class. Oh, okay, I think I know, because the m is small, we need a capital M. and that's fine, since that's the only error. Hopefully we don't get bargained into more errors. Oh god. Okay, this is crumpled. We need to do something about it. We're just gonna put ln. Remember, guys, we have to put ln because that's one of the key words to shortcut. It will make your program look clear and clean because ln does. Okay, what ln does is that it gives you new line, new space, just like space to, you know, just like when you are in a parking lot or when there's traffic, cars don't, you know, attach themselves together. There is some space in the middle, while all the cars are just in the parked, you know, kind of way, waiting for the green light to come. So there is some space between all those cars that you see around yourself. So that is the space we're talking about. We just don't want to make it too obscure and too, you know, ugly, so that users don't understand the interface. So let's just see, area of room, length 10, width 20, the area is 200. Perfect. Extremely amazing. Well, we're just going to put some space in here. It doesn't really matter. It doesn't really hurt, right? Okay, so that's the answer. Hope you find it interesting and useful. And thank you. Goodbye.